medical AI is, of course, advanced. Google has done this, but increasingly, the principle and the computing power will be here, and the solutions, just like mobile money, will just be common.
Hey everyone, welcome to We Need to Talk podcast. Today's conversation is one I've been yearning to have in the longest time. Actually, my producer today told me you should read out the introduction to this guest just the way I have written it. So I'm just gonna read out some few words down here.
Who's your producer?
My producer is Emma Ateng.
Now let us see what he says.
Yeah, I had my own intro that I had organized actually, but he's like, Amon, you know what? I want the intro of this guest to be the way it is. I've written it down.
Now I'm also curious. Let's hear it.
Well, guys, today's conversation is one I've been like really itching to have, like I said. But as a journalist for over a decade, Angelo's words have shaped global narratives from Uganda's Daily Monitor to the New York Times and The Guardian. But his work goes beyond headlines. He's a Regan Fasel. Did I pronounce that right? Fasel?
Regan Fasel.
Fasel. Yeah, I have to get this right. He's a Regan Fasel Democracy Fellow, a Knight Fellow at Stanford, and a co-founder of the think tank Fonaka Kwa Wote.
Which means prosperity for all.
Prosperity for all.
In Swahili, yeah.
That's amazing. Right now, he's deep into researching a book on Uganda's oil sector, untangling how power, money, and decisions collide. Today, we're unpacking the digital revolutions, its grip on our economies and life hacks that not just to survive, but thrive into this tech-driven range. So if you're ready to rethink what's possible, we're going to just dive into the conversation with Angelo Izama. Everyone, welcome him to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
So Regan Fasel, given what's the craziness with the Trump world right now, was a bipartisan bill passed to fund, I think, 4 U.S. government-mandated institutions. So you've heard of International Republican Institute, the National Endowment for Democracy. All of these ones now talk like, the right just don't want to hear about these organizations.
Yeah.
And then there's one called the Solidarity Movement that supports labor movements around the world. And then there's a Center for International Private Enterprise where I encountered one of my all-time heroes. Is a South American economist called Hernando de Soto. Yeah, I'll tell you about him.
Okay.
He's a cool guy, cool cat.
Cool guy.
Yeah.
What are you so grateful for today, Angelo?
Well, mostly I would say health, peace of mind. The best days when you can focus on ideas, where you are aware that your curiosity is healthy and it's not toxic. But my all-time favorite days are when I have the energy just like to enjoy life. Yeah, like coming back on this street here where you're recording this.
Yeah,
because I used to run on this street, and that just gives you just some rare energy.
Yeah. We are recording today's episode at Dansoft Studios, and that's our beautiful space and our beautiful home where we have our podcast today. So when Angelo mentions that the street, you gotta have to know where we are. And what's something that you've been struggling with in recent weeks or days?
Actually months. So late last year, I was approaching my 50th birthday, and I never thought, because I really don't mind about my birthdays, and I've always like looked this way while the years pass by. But I had made a sort of pledge about 10 years ago, that I knew I'd be spending time away from Uganda, mostly as much time with my family as possible, with my partner and our 2 children. And having left Uganda traveled, and then spent time traveling continuously for 10 years. I thought that I would apportion my life for before 50 and after 50. And the point of it all was that I could do one of these pivots, I wear so many hats. Mm-hmm. I'm a journalist. I consult. Sometimes I do commentary, and there's a variety of subjects that I've been interested in over the years. Yeah. So most people encounter me in a shape-shifting form. Like today, I went to talk about the energy sector. Mm-hmm. Last week, we were talking global geopolitics and Uganda, the security, Africa, the UN Security Council. So being active in that life and living it is okay. But at some point, I thought I would pivot and take all of these various strands of my life over the years and shape them into what I initially wanted to do, mm-hmm. which is, can I contribute in some significant way ideas that the next generation of, dreamers, Ugandans can hold on to. Yeah.
Speaking about contributing ideas and also wearing various hats, I remember you came up with the word or the phrase struggle. Not struggle as in struggle, the English word, but in Uganda we have the word called struggle. So Angelo was one of the people, actually not even one, he did, because he coined this term to describe the instability facing Uganda's youth which is over 63% under the age of 25. What are some of the life hacks that you'd give this youth who would also want to wear various hats to have the strong mindset of, being successful and doing what they're doing to achieve?
Okay.
Yeah.
The first would be you have to take in your environment. Our place here, it teaches you lessons.
Very much.
I think the real danger for young people is to look for heroes outside. The idea of heroism was always introduced to us via films. I'm old enough to have gone to Odeon Cinema when it was still playing on the street above. And then we had the wars and no cinema. And then when the modern cinemas were introduced, there was a cinema here, the first cinema in Uganda, across the street above there.
Yeah.
And popular cultural heroes, the idea that struggle is tied to certain people who are extraordinary. And if you're in the Marvel universe now, you may think of, all the Marvel heroes, Captain America, and, Black Panther, Wakanda. So as a cultural statement, it comes to us as a form of entertainment. And yet, we are asking young people to still themselves, okay, and apply their talents with vigor and passion to this environment.
Yeah.
So a lot of my friends, some of the young people I know, they will swear by certain self-help books, 10 habits of CEOs or something.
Yeah.
But if you are truly observant, all the heroes you need are around you. So we grew up, and Uganda continues to sustain ordinary heroes. You find women like my grandmothers who raised us after the war, single-handedly managed large families. Most of us have turned well. But it's a huge, you can't think about the emotional reservoirs to survive continuous conflict and remain hopeful as the country is changing around you, and without having really power to do anything but to be hopeful. So, and then we're like in this environment here, for example, this is where you're recording is the heartbeat of Ugandan business and innovation. So there are businesses literally every meter. And those are multiple dreams. Everyone is chasing the current, okay?
Right.
But if you think about the effort people are putting in, that current, that should be your essential life hack. Because we are all chasing that wave, okay? And the ordinary heroes are the ones you meet every day who have an idea, will have a connection, will share something. Because when we were on these streets, I remember we are so poor. I used to be with a guy who started a major award ceremony, and we would share. So we would share both our transport money and our cigarettes. So we would go walk half the distance, buy cigarettes, then take a taxi the other half and smoke the cigarettes at some point. So Africans, by their very nature, are built for this superhero stuff. First of all, they are very malleable. The Africans can embody multiple identities because, unlike the Europeans and others, we were only bred with, national borders recently. Before that, we're free roaming people, making alliances as we move along. So, people speak multiple languages. They are able to adapt to multiple situations. That's why they can migrate in large numbers, And because of where they come from, the sky is always above them. So they are not in any settled place, in their minds. They don't have static cultures. They don't have, things that they cannot aspire to. If you told the Ugandan community somewhere that you're going to start a new religion or take them to the moon, those are possibilities. And this one here, I'm not just pulling it out of my hat. One of the Renaissance Africans born out of this area here called Semeka Kungulu. He was initially an apprentice to the king here of Buganda in this area, the Kabaka. Then he became like a lawmaker, a soldier, an author. He switched religions from initially Islam, I think he had. Then he was like an Anglican/Catholic. Then he figured that all these guys are worshiping a guy called Jesus as a Jew. Okay? And then he was a British mercenary. But he migrated all the way to the east of the country and started a small colony, taught himself Hebrew. So now we have got a colony there of Ugandans who are called Abayudea. One of the only non-ethnically Jewish communities in the world.
Is that where the Abayudea came from?
Precisely. That Semeka Kungulu is the one who founded it. So I call that a Renaissance African, but I'm only raising Semeka Kungulu because Semeka Kungulu is like the Pericles of the old Greek or Hellenistic tradition, that a man can be multiple things, that you don't have to have the tyranny of specialization. Today you're a podcaster, tomorrow you're a businessman, you could be an athlete, you could take an interest in math. So I think that one life hack is to say, pursue those possibilities, but draw your heroes locally. But it takes some effort to break the intellectual bonds that come from global popular culture.
Which is something that we're having actually in today's young adults or even youth. We are trying to look for heroes elsewhere, miles away, but those heroes that would make a difference in our lives are just next to us, around us.
And part of our tradition.
Like in in one of your articles, you wrote about Kampala's coffee shop tribe, and you highlighted youth revenue digital tools like mobile money, freelance platforms. Are these enough to disrupt the system barriers that we're facing right now?
So our system has already been disrupted. Just this week, the industry report for the mobile money industry came out. And of course, East Africa is by a huge margin, nearly half, ahead of the rest of the world. I think, I could give you the numbers, but your audience can check it out. In 1996, I was living with an uncle of mine who is called Stephen, who had just then become one of the logistics managers for a new company called Celtel. And I remember he went to the airport to receive the first batch of handheld phones called mobile phones.
Would we say he was among the first people to receive the handheld?
He basically was the guy who was at the airport who took the stuff of the plane.
Amazing.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, at the time, Uganda had maybe between 6,000 to 12,000 landlines. Landlines. So you have to stand across the street and dial and
Call someone.
There was some experimentation with coins and stuff. That infrastructure has disappeared. So we leapfrogged from those 12,000 lines or 6,000, maybe, because they're not well maintained, to what now? 22 million phones. Okay. At the moment. And access is more than that.
Yeah.
Then you have a smartphone penetration of, I don't know, another 10 million or something in that region. Almost every business in this intense place we are in has a TikTok channel.
That's true.
So going back to what I said about the malleability, the flexibility, the incredible ability of African youth to take a technology and make it their own, explains why in most places in the world, you cannot send money on your phones. People use cards.
Yeah.
We said, forget about that. Now we are able to, when I go to even South Africa here, people have problems sending money. And East Africa is the only place where the economy is being supercharged by this. So I wrote about the statistics here, which shock people. Let me take one aspect which is not too great. So a lot of gaming or betting, especially sports-related betting, takes place on mobile phones. Yeah. At the end of last year, Ugandans spent the equivalent of about 6 trillion shillings on betting. Trillion shillings. That's about nearly 20 billion a day. Actually, from the end of September, it was around 60 to 20 billion a day on betting. The money that is lent on phones, we call micro lending, for like More Cash and Airtel Cash.
Yeah.
That's a total of about 7 billion a day. Okay. Now, when I looked at what people are doing with this money, it is going in a direction which is fascinating. For example, a family has a sick person. Everyone mobilizes on the phone. You send what you can. You can send small amounts in your own privacy. We don't have a social welfare system.
Yeah.
So we share what we can. So there you have got, again, the generosity of the African and the technology in it.
Yeah.
That's simply disrupting our environment. So I think what you're seeing, like the difference between what is happening, for example, in the West and in here is like we are adapting the technology to certain unique needs that are here. Yeah. You don't have healthcare, you are sick, you get some relative to send you money. If you are in Chicago, you'd have to have health insurance.
Right.
Okay. 70% of all healthcare costs in Uganda are out of pocket. Now, as we spend, what our savings. That is what I have often described as the compassion economy. It all sits on a digital format.
Because when you mention that, it just brings me to the idea of equity in all this digital and economy or money, balancing the two things for the young adults, for them to benefit. Because if, for example, having all that money flying around on mobile phones, and I can be able to support my or pay for my bills. Let's just say in Mulago, my dad is sick, my mom is sick, my sister, and I can't, but we have all this money playing around. But a certain, maybe Musa somewhere in maybe a different state is gathering now all this money because it's mobile. Where is equity in all this? How does one get to, benefit from all this?
Well, I mean, the large mobile companies will make, and they have reported really huge profits. But remember that this use of turning airtime into money, that was what is invented here in Kampala. So they are, it's people who are taking the lead. There's other examples I could give you. So in some places now you've got barrio circles. Circles are saving societies. And there are social clubs that my masseuse goes to a social club. Everyone is required to spend money when they go to this place where they hang out to drink. Everything is mobilized on. When anyone of that group have a problem, they take 30% of their collections and give it to, say, the person who has lost someone or who has a crisis. And this is the lower segment of society. The more sophisticated people, so people like you who we look to as leaders, now it falls on you to say, what big problems can we solve with the technology we already have, with the values we're already practicing, okay? With the opportunity that already exists. So, I think there's a very short leap from that compassionate economy that I referred to, to getting something more structured like health insurance. Because the principle of health insurance is the same. We all put something in the pot so that when someone needs it, they get it. So it already exists in some variety of form. It's just that it comes to us as modernities, and with the corporate culture and with talking about equity, with the suspicion people have of, big corporate projects, I remember healthcare cards, there's a IHK is one of the big clinics in the 90s. And because the big corporates were just returning to Uganda, those boys and girls would, they go to their clinics and they're not paying money, just giving a card. And we thought it was such the coolest thing,
I mean, it's cool.
Well,
instead of money,
having lived abroad, I appreciate what healthcare can help. But then, of course, not all jurisdictions are fair. There are many places in other so-called functioning parts of the world where there's an unhealthy relationship between the insurance companies, the pharmaceutical companies, and the private hospitals, where that keep healthcare costs high, because there's a profit motive. I don't want that sort of a cannibalistic system. But we can certainly adapt the principles to fit us. And like I said, it fits our technology, it fits our expectations. We like to take care of especially our relatives.
We have at least every individual having a phone or a tablet, and they have different apps on these devices. Right now, I think we're looking so much more on the social media part, whereby everyone is trying to monetize what they have through social media. But then we also have the other part of the economy, which is like Uber or some parts that are trying to be flexible around the digital devices that we have, also to make a living or to get some money. But you critiqued their colonialism in one of the pieces that you wrote. What could be some of the hacks that you could provide or you could suggest to go around such platforms that are coming in? Because when like Uber or Glovo comes in, it tends to just try to engulf all that sector, try to like come out as if
I miss Jumia actually. I missed that platform.
Yeah.
I felt when they left that someone should have taken over. But now when I want to order, I just use Google Maps, because when you look at nearby restaurants, they all have some kind of phone. Yeah. And then they have a Buddha guy that you can send.
That's what's happening.
Yeah. So I had.
Okay. But is it sustainable though?
I think there's no turning back the clock. I'll give you, okay. If I was to, look through the hourglass at the future, I think what will happen is there will be, at some point, the equivalent of a Ugandan Facebook, because I think Facebook is basically no longer relevant. Yeah. And, there will be a Ugandan version of TikTok. So there will be various of this. And then the technologists who are here are already doing this stuff.
They are.
Yeah. So I was at the Makerere University Artificial Intelligence lab 3 weeks ago, only to discover that they have a large language model, AI, that is fluent in 7 Ugandan languages. Okay. So I asked them, what are you applying?
Did you just say 7 Ugandan languages?
Yeah.
Wow.
They have an AI agent there that is proficient in Lumasaba, Ateso, Lubara, Runyakitara, Lusoga, and I think Alu or something like that. They could extend it.
That's amazing.
They are now trying to figure out how to, because the languages interact with each other through English. Like you can speak Lumasaba, but it goes through some English there. So they are now working on language clusters that don't need, some English go between. Yeah. They also have in their health diagnostics labs various prototypes of diagnostic tools for everything from cervical cancer to prostate cancer. So there will be a time, and you guys, you'd think it's a joke, but you walk into a clinic in Chwatule, and they'll say, okay, Amon, thanks for coming. For this issue here, we're going to take an X-ray, okay? Or some other kind of digital image, and the diagnosis will be done by an AI. So, working with radiologists here at Mengo Hospital, there's an AI there that can predict up to like a 98% accuracy digital images of certain cancers. Wow. And medical AI is, of course, advanced. Google has done this. But increasingly, the principle and the computing power will be here. And the solutions, just like mobile money, will just be common. I am trying to promote right now for coffee farmers another AI agent that has been done in Makerere, which basically allows farmers to predict yield, to diagnose disease, alongside other things.
That's amazing. Speaking about AI, just forgetting his name, but if this is appropriate, Luke Shana's husband.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah, Chiaga, can't recall his name. Chitaka. Yeah. What do you think about that AI model that you created when it comes to translation into Luganda and stuff like that?
It is not to put him down. Okay. I watched it and I saw him, test it. Yes, but the industry is depending on the computing power. Yeah, it's just going by essentially leaps and bounds. So integrating a Luganda-based AI, for example, to do map reading. Yeah, so it's like Google Translate. The principle is not new. And the technology itself is not new, but someone has to do it. Yeah, and I think he has taken a leap. I would love to have, Siri speak to me in Luganda or
Nyakitala. Yeah,
and yet, by the way, that is very, very easy to do. Yeah, it's very, very easy to do.
How are we translating that to monetary aspects? How we as young people coming out with these beautiful ideas, good innovations? Because I really hate it when I go online and I'm reading like Uganda is one of those innovative. But then when it comes to the economy, when you bring out your fellow maybe who has created this whole, you're like, bro, how's it going? Financial wise. It's like, man, it doesn't add up.
The struggle.
How do we cross that channel or that barrier?
Organization. So scale is what you're talking about. One of the things Ugandans do poorly is work together. So there'll be multiple ideas, to quote Chairman Mao, let 1,000 flowers bloom, but forms of organization that are structured to scale are very difficult. Look at our stock market, for example.
Yeah.
We've got great companies potentially, okay? And companies for whom a service is something we use every day, so you can invest in it. But look at how very little interest there is in growing the stock of capital.
Yeah.
And for that, I want to return to that hero of mine I told you about, Hernando de Soto, the economist. De Soto spoke about the difference between the organized West and the rest of the world as being a function of capital. And how do you accumulate that capital? And I tell this story to other people. So take the value of this building. If this building is just brick and stone. However, if it were owned by Angelo Izama Enterprises, and the company, Angelo Izama Enterprises, can be owned by, say, 1 million people because Angelo has got real estate holdings valued at X amount. Okay? So these 1 million people now can put in so they own pieces of the brick and stone. Another person can then borrow that money, okay, and do something else with it.
Right.
So that's how capital is organized. So if you left college, say in California, you have access to a mortgage. So you meet some girl, you get married, you say we have foreclosed the mortgage in our first house. Okay? We have paid the 18% down payment. We borrowed from relatives. Okay? But now you own a home. And what does that do for you? Okay? First, now you're no longer paying rent. You're just building equity into that property.
Yeah.
And that equity is something you can sell. So after 10 years, you're like, oh, by the way, we've had a kid, but like Angelo Izama, I want to go back to school and restart my life. You refinance the mortgage, take out 100K, so one of your partners can go to school.
When are we going to get that here down in Uganda?
So but that's what I'm talking about. It's basically organization, because what Hernando was pointing out is that the wealth we sit on, okay, are not held in capital goods. So Kampala is wealthy, but it's basically brick and stone. None of those things are valued in such a way that capital understands that you can own pieces of many things. Okay?
Yeah.
So you can extract credit, Yeah. And in that way, you can finance other things.
How do we disseminate this information to like a very, down to earth Ugandan who is going to find all this conversation maybe a bit
high-minded?
Yeah, but I love I love what Wanda JR is doing with his fellow Cyrus. Like Wanda JR, when you see his content, it's speaking about like as if they're complicated things. Then his Cyrus is going to come in and make it more fun. But even when it's like a bit comical, but he's passing on to something that is really, really relevant and important. So how do we get like such information disseminated into a person who feels or who thinks like this is not just, my conversation?
I think you should map, when thinking about Wanda, for example.
Yeah.
He's a communicator. He's a creator. But let me give you like a marketplace where these things already happen organically. So I am on X. I'm even on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
Where no one is.
I am on Blue Sky. I have been wondering why Ugandans are not on Blue Sky.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm on X, I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on TikTok as well.
Yeah.
Okay. The stuff I post on TikTok is boring. I will post a link to this podcast. But it's like, in intellectual balderdash or something.
Yeah.
However, the real mass market is with TikTok. So TikTok has got, Twitter has got maybe 5 to 6 accounts that are over 1 million in Uganda.
Yeah.
That's nothing in TikTok. Like,
very much.
There are accounts that are 22 million. And I like to respect the dynamic environment. Just because you're not getting my message, I'm not getting my message through to you.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm not receiving messages. So you look at that mass market of all these TikTok creators, and someone has to ask, okay, how do we speak the language that explains this gathering?
Yeah.
And I think, especially when it comes to commerce, people are self-interested. That's why, pyramid schemes are so successful, because they want to succeed. Okay. So I think like on the more structured stuff, creating capital goods, that is a function for leadership.
Yeah.
Someone has just to lead. Okay. You have to be like Lee Kuan Yew or Paul Kagame or even Europe 70 and provide some leadership that you cannot dispense with it. And you bring reforms and you push them through.
Yeah.
However, for communication, in order to inspire a generation, I would say our generation, this generation we see today, they're already inspired. People should not complain that they're not paying attention. You should ask, what are they paying attention to, and take it from there.
Yeah, I know we're running out of time, but there are really, really important two issues that I really wanted us to talk about. One is the legacy and global networks that we are dealing with. And in 2012, we challenged the Stop Corn campaign. Sorry about that. The Stop Corn campaign, and also NSAS in Nigeria, which was something that was oversimplified, to your opinion. Today, how can young Africans leverage tech to tell their own stories? I know you just mentioned a bit of it just in a few minutes ago, but how can we look at things that are serious and not oversimplify them?
Yeah, Kony 2012 was interesting because it found me in California, but I had known the young people who were behind it as a journalist.
Yeah.
And obviously the movement at the time that amplified that film, it was mostly young college-going people who were concerned about Africa, but, for example, did not live through the Northern Uganda War and its complexities, and they were not also security experts. They didn't have that sort of insight we would bring. So it did get me a place in the New York Times column where I wrote a piece about why Kony was not the problem, and I explained the regional complexities around it. Very popular piece, I remember at that time. However, to answer your question quickly, I'll go to two other things. So one, when Queen of Katwe was in production, my friend Derek Ibisi of Talking Film was a local production company. And I remember, because I'm in the business of hanging out with cool people like you and doing what I can.
I'm cool.
So Derek has I've known him many times. He was a fixer. Now he has his own company. And so I apply, had approached to it. I said, look, this is a Disney film. Disney had scheduled it for the holiday period, so like the Christmas period of that time.
Yeah.
Though it wasn't ready by the time. Anyway, so I could see the big potential for that film. I'm a Disney fan. I've been to Anaheim. I love Disney products. But it was also a Ugandan film. So I wrote to the Prime Minister at the time, Honorable Gunda, and I explained what this opportunity is. I said, look, film, audio visual, and I used to have it on my Twitter masthead, is the language of the future. You, the older generation, African leaders are asking young Africans to defend the dignity of the continent. They need those tools. So let us bring in more film projects. Then Disney ran into a tax thing. We tried our best to resolve that issue between Disney and the government, but that opportunity was never really, grabbed. I then got involved again. I wrote about this. As a result of Queen of Katwe, Moonlight, the South African production company, which was contracted, their producers were here and they had gone to the West to do something. So when Marvel is shooting Black Panther, the first one, and they were looking for great scenes, they turn to Moonlight. And the boys say, oh, by the way, there are places in Western Uganda perfect for these scenes. So a lot of Ugandans would have, and people in the world would have gone to watch the Black Panther come into Wakanda, and they would have seen scenes from Kasese and that whole area. That is like location filming, which is easy to do. The difference between that period and now, with streaming services and the attention economy shifting to these forms, is that young Africans no longer need big films, and they no longer need Hollywood or even Nollywood or Bollywood to express themselves. They now have the tools in their hands. So what they really need to do now is think much more intentionally about how they intend to defend their dignity or not. Because sometimes you have to be real about what's going on. But the tools are there. I am less worried today, for example, about a Kony 2012 like disrupting anything. We will just say we'll just ignore it because we are here.
We're here right now in the present, not in the future.
Let me just check, who's doing what.
But as we come to an end, We Need to Talk podcast is here to really elevate and talk about well-being and self-improvement in all the conversations that we have. So having a guest like Angelo on the podcast, we cannot go without talking about his well-being. How does he do it? Because we have like very many young people who are living an imbalanced life between making money and their well-being. Angelo, how do you maintain your physical well-being plus your mental well-being to be in check all the time?
To be perfectly honest, none of those things are in check. That's a fact. Okay.
Tell me about it.
First, I picked up smoking cigarettes when I was 12. Never really gave it up. Okay? Since we are all being honest, I think I have to climb over that mountain at some point. I took up running for years. Actually, my partner, who's a college professor, encouraged me to go running, and from 2007, I ran for a bit, a decade and a half. And that has helped. So I would say physical exercise is important. I picked up calisthenics when my daughter was born. So I do exercises at home, body weight exercises. I have a mix. I don't take dieting too seriously, but I apply some fast principles. The one we used to learn in primary 4, the balanced diet is. So I would say I would apply the 4 things we teach like I teach in a leadership class as being good for your mental and physical well-being. And they're all principles of leadership, actually. The first is you must have clarity. And like I said, if you're smoking, okay, well, just be clear that there are consequences. You cannot be. So clarity is such an important principle of life that when you confront a problem, a business problem, a health problem, that you're able to deal with the facts brutally and settle yourself. No embellishments, no side things.
Hiding them.
Don't conceal. So have some clarity. The second is, I would say, we tell leaders like yourself to be authentic about the knowledge that they have. In other words, rely on your own knowledge, so don't seek validation in many places. Often what you know about yourself is important enough, so there's a tendency to go and Google everything and say, that's what I'm speaking about. Respect the integrity of your own knowledge, which you acquire by yourself, maybe by talking, but anyway, it's important for your mental health that you are capable of thinking for yourself. Okay? The third thing is to appreciate empathy. We Africans, we face all manner of put downs. Okay? Your economies. If you go on any African platform, the first point of departure is something negative. Sometimes they even they talk about positive things, but in negative way. X number of Africans now have access to water, even if the continent is like water rich. Okay. So develop empathy, because your reservoirs of empathy, your ability even to laugh at yourself and to say, okay, but we have come from far. That's important. The fourth thing, which is, we call it volunteerism, but I'll restructure the wording, is that it's important for you to work with other people.
Right.
And to give yourself in service to something. So the Africans are generous with their time. They are communal people. But I think the danger of these funds is that increasingly mental and physical problems come because people curate their lives around their mobile devices. They're no longer going out and talking to other people. Even something as basic as, saying Eradi Sebo, when you're passing, you just say, how are you? Which we used to take for granted that, you meet someone, you say hello. So it's important to extend your life beyond your associations, get to know other people. All of those things I say are good for leadership, and they're good for your mental and physical well-being.
Well, you've heard it from Angelo, Izama, and I really, really appreciate you. Thank you for coming through to Weneed to Talk podcast. And it's been a pleasure.
Cheers.